Hello everyone. Today we will deal with ethers. I will take preparation of ethers, physical properties of ether and chemical properties of ethers. Ethers are those compounds which are formed when the hydrogen from aliphatic or aromatic hydrocarbon is being replaced by an alkoxy group. Okay, then it results in the formation of ether. Look at the general structure of ether. This is the general structure of ether in which both the groups are the alkyl groups linked to the oxygen. This is another example of ether. This is an alkyl aryl ether in which one of the group is alkyl and another group is aryl, that is aromatic in nature. So we will take the preparations of ether. Ethers can be prepared by two methods. The first method to prepare ether is by dehydration of alcohol. Dehydration of alcohol, the name itself suggests that there will be removal of water molecule from alcohols. Now if we take this step, this method to prepare ether, this method involves the formation of both alkene as well as ether. When the alcohol undergo dehydration, it can form both the things. It can form alkene also and it can form ether also. So when alcohol undergo dehydration, it can form alkene as well as ether. But which product will be formed depend upon the reaction conditions. Look at this example. This is the alcohol ethanol. Ethanol is undergoing dehydration in presence of sulfuric acid at 443 Kelvin temperature. At the same time, here also I take ethanol as an alcohol, but it is undergoing dehydration in presence of sulfuric acid but at a temperature of 413 Kelvin. When the reaction condition is this, then as a result of dehydration, there will be formation of alkene. Ethene is formed. Whereas when the reaction conditions are these, then as a result of dehydration, it results in the formation of ether. This is your ethoxy ethane. Nomenclature I already explained you in the earlier videos. So preparation of ether is, the first method is by dehydration of alcohol. Dehydration can give both the things, alkene as a product as well as ether as a product. Okay. Now alkene as a product is obtained due to elimination reaction, due to elimination procedure. Okay. Whereas the ether is being obtained due to nucleophilic substitution procedure. Nucleophilic substitution reaction. So if we are getting alkene due to the dehydration of alcohol, when alcohol is undergoing the removal of water molecule, but by the process of elimination reaction, then it will give alkene. At the same time, if the alcohol is undergoing dehydration by nucleophilic substitution reaction, then it will give you ether. Now for the formation of ether, the nucleophilic substitution reaction pathway that is followed is SN2 reaction, that is bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. So when ether is obtained from alcohol, then the pathway that is followed is SN2 reaction. So what will be the mechanism of SN2 reaction? How the SN2 reaction will take place? What will be the step? I'll explain you here now. So the pathway that is followed is SN2, that is nucleophilic substitution, to bring about the dehydration of alcohol to form ether. Look at the mechanism. This is alcohol. This is the first step. Okay. Second step of this reaction will be one more ethanol undergo the reaction with the product that is obtained in the first step. Now it may get eliminated, water molecule get removed, dehydration procedure occur, and therefore as the water molecules get removed, a positive charge will appear on the carbon that can be attacked by the lone pair from the second ethanol molecule. So as a result, the product we get is Okay, this product has been obtained. Now in the last step, hydrogen will get removed. Now this hydrogen, so finally what you get? Ether, and this ether is obtained by SN2 pathway, that is biomolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. Pathway is giving you the product as ether. So the dehydration of alcohol when carried out by nucleophilic substitution reaction, it usually follow SN2 pathway. Okay, now we know the nucleophilic substitution reactions are of two types, SN1 and SN2. Always the ether will be formed by SN2 pathway only, not by the SN1 reaction, because the alkyl group, in case of alcohol, the alkyl group, or we can say that the alcohol can be primary alcohol, secondary alcohol and tertiary alcohol. If the alcohol is primary alcohol, then the SN2 pathway will be easily followed. In case if the alcohol is secondary or tertiary alcohol, then the reaction pathway that is followed will be SN1 reaction, that is unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction will be followed in case of secondary and tertiary. Now SN2 mechanism or SN2 reaction is only there in your course. SN1 you will learn in the higher classes. So the alcohol will give you ether by nucleophilic substitution reaction, and alkene is formed due to elimination reaction. Okay, so this was the first method which is used to prepare ether. The next method to prepare ether is Williamson synthesis. It is a widely used method in laboratories to prepare ether. Williamson synthesis. This is a lab method used widely in laboratories to prepare ether. In this method involves the attack of alkoxide. This is the alkoxide group on hydrogen halides. This involves, on alkyl halides. So this method involves the attack of alkoxide on alkyl halides. Alkyl halides, this is the general formula for alkyl halide. This is any alkyl group and this is the halogen. And this is your alkoxide. So this method involves the attack of alkoxides on the alkyl halide. This method is used for both symmetrical ethers, in which both the groups are same, which are linked to the oxygen, whereas also used for the unsymmetrical ethers, in which both the groups which are linked to the oxygen are different. So Williamson synthesis is used for both the process. Look at the general reaction for Williamson synthesis. This is alkyl halide. This is sodium alkoxide. Okay. This is sodium alkoxide and this is your alkyl halide. When the reaction is taking place, the alkoxide will attack on this halide. As a result, you get the ether and alcohol. Now here the alkyl halide is primary alkyl halide. So here this alkyl halide is your primary alkyl halide. And if the alkyl halide is primary alkyl halide, then the reaction pathway will be SN2 reaction pathway, that is biomolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. So when Williamson synthesis takes place and if the alkyl halide is primary alkyl halide, then the reaction pathway will be biomolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. Let me take an example of this Williamson synthesis here. This is your primary alkyl halide. When this reaction takes place, the product form will be so this is how the reaction is taking place. So when the alkyl halide is primary alkyl halide, the reaction pathway will be SN2. In case if the alkyl halide is secondary or tertiary alkyl halide, so let's see if the alkyl halide is secondary or tertiary, then what will happen. If the alkyl halide is secondary alkyl halide or tertiary alkyl halide, in that case the elimination reaction will compete with that of the substitution reaction, and as a result the reaction that will occur is elimination instead of substitution. So elimination reaction will be there will be no substitution reaction. Earlier in Williamson synthesis was involving SN2 reaction, that is biomolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. But in case if the alkyl halide changes, if the alkyl halide is secondary or tertiary, then the mechanism will be the elimination reaction that will be followed, and as a result of elimination reaction, instead of ether, alkene will be formed. Instead of ether, alkene will be formed as a product. Look at the reaction. This is the alkyl halide. The reaction will take place. Instead of forming ether, what product will be formed? Alkene. Alkene will be obtained. So this is your tertiary alkyl halide. Here it was second primary alkyl halide, and here it is tertiary alkyl halide. So as a result, here it was following SN2 mechanism, here it is following elimination reaction, here it is ether is being formed, but here in this case alkene is being formed. Okay, so this is how the Williamson synthesis differs when the alkyl halide changes from primary, secondary and tertiary. Now in case of this case, if you take the tertiary alkyl halide, why the product formed is not your ether, only alkene? Because here the alkoxide, this alkoxide group is not acting as a nucleophile. It's not acting as a nucleophile. Instead of it, what it is doing, it reacts with the bases, and as a result of which it forms the alkene. So it is not acting as a nucleophile here, whereas in the above case it is acting as a nucleophile. So therefore the reaction that is being formed gives you ether. Phenols. If you take phenols, from phenols also you can prepare ether by Williamson synthesis. If this is phenol, reacts with a base, which finally results in the formation of sodium phenoxide. So here you get the group here. Now this when react with an alkyl halide, then you finally get the product. You get a alkyl aryl ether is being formed. This is an unsymmetrical ether because one of the group that is linked to the oxygen is your aromatic ring, and another group that is linked to the oxygen is your alkyl group. So from phenols also give the Williamson synthesis reaction, reacting with base giving sodium phenoxide, and this sodium phenoxide when undergoing reaction with alkyl halide is giving you the final product, that is the ether, aryl alkyl ether, because one group is aryl and one group is alkyl. So this is how ether can be prepared. Now next I will take the physical properties of ether. Physical properties of ether are very simple. Ethers also consist of an oxygen group in them, OR. OR is the functional group that is present in the ether. Okay, it has oxygen also. Now ethers are usually liquid. They have a particular smell is there. Ether possesses some smell, and they are miscible in water. Why they are miscible in water? The miscibility in water is due to the formation of hydrogen bonds with water molecule. If you look at the structure of ether, this is the structure of ether. This oxygen which is present in the ether is capable of forming hydrogen bond with water molecule, and as a result of which they become miscible in water. Now they are polar in nature. These groups are polar in nature. So the properties, the physical properties of the ether, if we take the physical properties will be, these are the liquid in nature. They have some smell, particular smell is possessed by them. they are polar in nature. The boiling point is higher but lesser than that of the alcohol, okay, because this factor is due to their polarity. They are polar in nature but they are less polar as compared to that of the alcohols. So boiling point is high but less than that of alcohol. They have a particular smell. Then they are miscible in water, and this miscibility in water is due to formation of hydrogen bond with water molecules, okay. So here we cover the physical properties. Now next topic I will take is chemical properties or chemical reactions of ether. Chemical reactions of ether, there are only two chemical reactions which are given by ether that we are going to discuss here. The first chemical reaction of the ether is cleavage of carbon-oxygen bond, that is bond breaking, cleavage of carbon-oxygen bond. This type of reaction takes place in rustic conditions. Can't be taken easily, okay. Rustic conditions are needed, either high temperature, pressure, the catalyst, all these conditions will be needed. So rustic conditions are needed to bring about the cleavage of carbon-oxygen bond. And this in this reaction the carbon-oxygen bond will be cleaved when the ether react with hydrogen halides. Hydrogen halides can be or hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen iodide. When this cleavage of the CO bond takes place, look at the reaction. I'll take a dialkyl ether. Dialkyl ether means both the groups that are linked to the oxygen are alkyl and reacting with a hydrogen halide. Then as a result of which alkyl halide is formed and alcohol is formed. Now this was your dialkyl ether. In case of alkyl aryl ether, so here any bond breaks, the same product will be formed. This is a symmetrical dialkyl ether, okay. Both the alkyl groups are same. Here in case of this, that is the alkyl aryl group, one is alkyl group, another is aryl group. Depending upon which carbon oxygen bond is which carbon oxygen bond is being undergoing cleavage, the product form will be different. So there is a perfect rule for this. In case of alkyl aryl ether, always the alkyl oxygen bond will undergo cleavage. Always this bond will undergo cleavage. So therefore when it react with alkyl halide, what product will be formed? It becomes H plus minus aromatic alcohol and alkyl halide. So this was your symmetrical dialkyl ether and this is your alkyl aryl ether. In this always the alkyl oxygen bond will undergo cleavage. So this is the case. Now a third case that is possible is for the cleavage of CO bond. So here we have considered a symmetrical ether, symmetrical dialkyl ether. This is the unsymmetrical ether, but unsymmetrical in ether in a form that one of the group is your aromatic in nature. In case of the unsymmetrical ether in which both the groups that are linked to the oxygen are of alkyl only. Look here, ROR dash means if one of the alkyl group is methyl, then another can be ethyl. I am just taking an example in which both the groups are different but both the groups are alkyl group. So in case of unsymmetrical ether, how the reaction will take place, the cleavage will be like this, okay. So unsymmetrical ether also shows this reaction. Unsymmetrical ether also will going to show the reaction and the oxygen carbon bond will cleaved in this reaction also. So this is how the cleavage of the carbon oxygen bond takes place. Now as I said, the alkyl halides which are used can be your hydrogen iodide, it can be hydrogen bromide, hydrogen chloride, but the reactivity order will be hydrogen iodide will be more reactive as compared to that of hydrogen bromide and hydrogen chloride. Why it is so? Because the hydrogen iodide bond can be breaked easily. It can be break easily. Why? Because as we move down the group in a periodic table, then the atomic size increases. So size of the iodide will be more than that of the bromide and chloride. So therefore the bond formed will have more bond length. And that bond length, if the bond length is more, then the bond can be break easily by providing less energy. So the reactivity of the hydrogen halide is hydrogen iodide is more reactive as compared to that of hydrogen bromide and hydrogen chloride. So this I have taken the examples of wherever I have used the alkyl groups. The alkyl group that I have used was of primary nature. Okay, primary alkyl group. What in case if some ether is having a tertiary alkyl group? If the ether is having a tertiary alkyl group, then how the reaction will take place? I am just going to show you here. If ether has a tertiary alkyl group, if ether has tertiary alkyl group, then tertiary alkyl group will going to undergo SN1 reaction with your hydrogen halide. Okay, so it undergo SN1 reaction with hydrogen halide. Why it is so? Because this ether which is having a tertiary alkyl group will going to form a tertiary carbocation. Will form a tertiary carbocation, and this tertiary carbocation that is formed is very stable in nature. So look at the example. This is the tertiary alkyl group and this is your ether having a tertiary alkyl group. When this is undergoing reaction with your hydrogen iodide, and how the reaction will takes place, this methoxide, that is OCH3, this group will easily departs by breaking this bond, because if it easily departs then it is left with this tertiary carbocation, and that tertiary carbocation is very stable. So this product will be formed and methanol. So in case if the alkyl group is tertiary, then the tertiary carbocation will be formed and the reaction will be SN1, unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction, and that stable carbocation will further undergo the reaction. So this is the case if the tertiary alkyl group is being there in the ether. So here I finished the first reaction, first chemical reaction, that is the cleavage involving carbon-oxygen bond. The next chemical reaction I will take is electrophilic substitution reaction. Electrophilic substitution reaction means substituting the hydrogen by an electrophile. Electrophilic substitution reaction. Why ethers give electrophilic substitution reaction can be explained by looking at the resonating structures of ether. Means electrophilic substitution reaction will take place at which position? Usually it takes place at ortho and para, and that can be explained by the structures, the resonating structures. Resonating structures, to understand the resonating structure, the best way is drawing them. Draw the resonating structures along with me. It's the best way by which you can understand the resonating structures. So here the resonating structures of a ether, and if you look at the resonating structures of ether, we can see that in these structures the negative charge density is at the ortho and the para position. So that is suitable for the electrophile to bring about the substitution. So electrophilic substitution reaction in ether takes place at ortho and para positions. Now there are three electrophilic substitution reactions which are given by ether. I will take all those reactions one by one. The first reaction that is given by ether is halogenation reaction. Halogenation reaction means where the electrophile will be a halogen. This is ether. This is your methoxybenzene, also called as anisole. It undergo halogenation reaction with bromine in presence of ethanoic acid. In presence of ethanoic acid, result in the formation of two products, that is one when the substitution takes place at ortho and one when the substitution takes place at para. Now in this case the para product that is formed will be the major one and the ortho product that is formed will be the minor one. What is the name of the major product? If you number them, it will be 4-bromo-methoxybenzene, or is also called as para-bromo-anisole. Now here if you number them, it will be 2-bromo-methoxybenzene, or also called as ortho-bromo-anisole. Okay, so this is how the halogenation reaction takes place in ether. The next two reactions, two electrophilic substitution reactions that takes place in ether are Friedel-Crafts reaction. The Friedel-Crafts reaction are again of two types, that is alkylation and acylation. Friedel-Crafts alkylation reaction and Friedel-Crafts acylation reaction. Look at the reaction below. Anisole undergoing reaction with methyl chloride. The reaction takes place in presence of anhydrous aluminium chloride. This is an electrophilic substitution reaction in which the electrophile will be the alkyl group. The reaction will take place at both the ortho as well as at the para position. When the reaction takes place at ortho position, this product is formed, and when the reaction takes place at para position, this product is formed. Again the para product will be major and ortho product will be minor. Now how we will name this? This is anisole, the reactant is anisole. The product that is being formed, if you number them, then it will be like this. Okay, the higher group will be number first. So it is 2-methoxy. When benzene ring is having a CH3 onto it, it is known as toluene. So name will be 2-methoxy toluene. It will be 4-methoxy toluene. Now next Friedel-Crafts reaction is acylation reaction, that is addition of reaction with acyl chloride. Okay, so reaction with acyl chloride or acyl group. Look at the reaction. This is anisole. This is ethanoyl chloride. This is your acyl halide. Okay, so acylation reaction involves reaction with acyl halide. So ethanol chloride, again the reaction will take place at the ortho position. This product is formed. When the reaction takes place at the para position, this product is formed. Again the para product will be the major one and the ortho product will be the minor one. If you name them, the numbering will be like this. Name of this product is 2-methoxy acetophenone. It will be 4-methoxy because the alkoxy group is at the 4th position, acetophenone. Okay, so this is how the Friedel-Crafts reaction takes place: alkylation, addition of alkyl group, and acylation, addition of acetyl group. The third electrophilic substitution reaction is nitration reaction, in which the electrophile will be a nitro group. Nitration reaction. anisole again. Now nitration reaction takes place when the ether undergo reaction with concentrated sulfuric acid and concentrated nitric acid. So when undergo reaction with concentrated sulfuric acid and concentrated nitric acid, again the two product will be formed, ortho product and para product. This is the ortho product, it will be minor, and the para product that is formed will be the major product. So this is the para product, this is the major product, like all the electrophilic substitution reactions of ether, and this is the minor product. The name of this product is 2-nitro-anisole, and this will be your 4-nitro-anisole, also called as orthonitro-anisole or para-nitro-anisole, or you can also open the name of the anisole as methoxybenzene. So this is how the electrophilic substitution reactions takes place. So here we finish this ethers portion. Along with ethers portion, your alcohol, phenols and ether is also been finished here. Thank you so much.